Honda Fury Speedometer LED modification. You'll notice from this angle that the LCD for your odometer is actually bent up. It's in order to give us enough room to be able to lift that plastic cover. You'll notice laying a small bead of solder along the positive and negative side of the LED that we're replacing. So again, this is your stock display here with the 5 red LEDs. And this is another shot just showing you how we have the plastic kind of propped up on that bottom left hand corner just to gain access to all the LEDs. We needed another blue LED, so I actually had them swap the blue high beam LED out for the red one you see here on the bottom left. Now to remove the LEDs, you want to actually apply a little bit of heat and a little bit of pressure to each side until it pops free from the board. Now you'll notice when you look at these LEDs, top right corner has a notch or an angle to it. You want to make sure that that's in the top right when you're looking at the speedometer when you place these. Lay them over the area where the original was. Try and line it up pretty good. And then it's just a matter of tinning your tip of your soldering iron using something, some type of a plastic tool, a pair of small tweezers, and actually hold it in place while you lay a small bead of solder across there. Placement of that corner is important for positive and negative purposes, I'm thinking. Clearly when you lay this solder over it, it's not going to be as clean as it was from the factory. But you also want to make sure you've got enough in there to make a good solid connection that you're not going to have issues with down the road. And it's just a matter of not putting too much on the tip of the iron and trying to lay it in there as clean as you can with what little space you have. And I'll show you the last LED actually has to be turned, and we'll go over that later on. Quick shot of what the area on the board looks like where you're going to place the LED and what that notch is that we're talking about. We recommend checking each one individually as you finish so that you know if one has an issue or not. So a couple things to rehash. The actual removal of the old ones, a little bit of heat, a little bit of pressure, and they'll pop off. It looks a little violent, but it's really not. This is the soldering iron, 18 bucks on Amazon, 25 watt, and the actual LEDs themselves are PLCC2s. The 2 basically stands for 2 points of connection, I guess. One on the top, one on the bottom, and they come packaged, various numbers of them obviously. And then this is just kind of rehashing, laying them where they need to go, and just kind of showing you a pair of tweezers helps, a plastic tool to hold them with, and it doesn't always lay perfect. You know, you might have to readjust the LED itself. You might have to melt a little bit of solder that's still left over and get it to come off onto your iron. Solder will only stick to clean metal. It won't stick to plastic, and it won't stick to really anything else. So you'll see I just pointed at the LCD there, the odometer. That's just to kind of give you guys an idea. Basically, in order to get in there again, we had to bend that up a little bit. There's like 15 pins that go down through there. They go down through that plastic piece and into the board. That's why we can't remove that. Somebody with enough skill might be able to, I guess, heat it up, pull them out, and then push them back through and resolder them, but don't quite have that confidence level yet in doing it. And then this here, basically making sure you got that LED setting just perfect where it's supposed to go. And you'll see in a second, basically you can kind of modify this if you need to a little bit, where if you lay a bead of solder and it's not perfect, keep in mind it'll actually heat up rather quickly, and although this wouldn't have bothered me, my brother's a little particular about other people's things especially, so it didn't lay quite perfect. It was a little crooked, so he's going to go back in, actually heat it up, adjust it, and then just hold it in place for a second. As it cools, it'll set still again. I think on this one we might have burnt that plastic top piece a little bit. You just want to be conscientious of that because you really don't have a lot of room to maneuver in under here. Set of tweezers, a longer iron would be nice, and a plastic tool to hold stuff with is really key. Okay, so 2 for 2. The light we're pointing to now is actually the red high beam now. We took the blue one out to use. We only had 4 blue LEDs left over from my brother's Harley, and double checking and showing that the odometer's working and everything still. And this is what it starts to look like with the faceplate on there. I actually kind of like the mix. Gives it a purple look almost. And this is just going to kind of give you an idea. This LED here is your stock LED. It's what they look like when you start. And then the next one here coming up is going to be one that we replaced. You know, like I said, not quite as clean, but it does the job. You're never going to see it, and we know it's going to be connected well for a good amount of time without issues, so that's what's important. So this is the solder you're looking for, or at least this is what we used. Rosin core 6040 solder, 0.032 diameter. Just a little bit on the tip of your soldering iron, and then take care to lay your LED exactly how it's supposed to go with the notch in the correct spot. And this is what we're talking about with kind of propping that bottom corner, that post up on the edge of the board, so that it gives you enough room to get in under there with your tools. My brother Steve is the one that's doing the soldering. My nephew Jake is kind of helping out, handing us the iron and everything as you need it. A couple sets of hands does certainly help. It would probably also help to be doing this in a kitchen or something like that rather than in a garage, but it was a spur of the moment idea, and you just want to kind of lay that tin across the connection. Again, you don't need a lot of it. You just want to kind of wipe it along the area where you're making the connection the best you can. Like I said, we ended up putting a little more solder on there than what you see from the factory, but want to make sure we get a good connection, and it honestly isn't ever going to be seen. So biggest thing, take care not to burn any of the other areas of the board. Try not to burn the plastic cover. And this is your finished product. And we got two more actually, LED 3 there, and LED 6, which is just under that. LED 6 is this last one here that you see us pointing to. It's the one that goes sideways, and that you want to have that notch in the top left as you're looking at it. And now for the big reveal. So this is what it looks like. There's 2 more red LEDs in under your odometer that you really can't get to. Not unless you have the ability to pull that LCD out of there that acts as your odometer, but overall I like the way it looks. The blue and the red really kind of give that a purple look to it. And then as I'm trying to focus here, this is the rest of my bike. aftermarket tail lights. I got spikes all the way down the center of the bike. Cobra swept pipes. Cobra power flow intake. Stock front blinkers that are mounted under the triple trees. My Yankeetronics forward controls I just got put on. And these are some white LED posts I put in behind my radiator cover there, my grill. And obviously my blue LED strips. I got a couple under the tank, a couple under the actual frame, and a couple under the swing arm. And then, like I said, this looks kind of cool, I think, with the blue and the red. Gives it a purple. You'll see there the high beam that I changed over from blue to red. The help of my brother. And like I said, that hourglass there looks purple. I think it's kind of cool. Definitely a lot brighter. You can see it a lot better in the daylight even. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the Honda Fury Speedometer LED mod. Got any questions, please ask. I'll do my best to answer them for you. And I'm just glad I could contribute to the forum. If anybody else has any suggestions, please feel free to add them as well. And look forward to hearing from you guys. Take care.